Greetings, Mr. Smith is back, and it's been a long time since I've made one of these videos. I hope you all are having a great semester, and this is going to be a brief introduction to the mixtape unit and also a preview to the creative mixtape final, which will be coming up at the end of the semester. Our text for this section of the course is Love is a Mixtape, Life and Loss, One Song at a Time by Rob Sheffield. He's a very famous music journalist and music author who's written really about very popular artists. He's very much in the popular imagination. But this is an extremely heartfelt story about love and loss, about his spouse who died young and his heartbreak as understood through going through a box of old cassettes, of old mixtapes. Now, I am 55. And so when I was your age and I wanted to listen to music or share music with friends, listening on cassette was one of the most popular ways to listen to music in my teens and 20s. And I have a lot of old cassettes, and some of them are actual mixed cassettes that we made, whether it would be from cassette to cassette, from vinyl albums to cassette, which was the most popular way, or even recording found sounds from our friends or even off the radio. And that's what an actual mixtape is. You all are familiar with playlists, and we're going to use the term mixtape and playlist completely interchangeably in this class and for this unit. But I hope you'll give the Sheffield book a try. And like some of our other texts, it is also available as an Audible audiobook. So if you haven't already dove into it, please dive in, because all of the things related to this assignment will be coming due here just in short order. Sheffield says that when you're making a mix, you're making history. You ransack the vaults, you haul off all the junk you can carry, and you require all your ill-gotten loot into something new. You go through an artist's entire career, zero in on that one moment that makes you want to jump and dance, and then you play that one moment over and over. A mixtape steals those moments from all over the musical cosmos and splices them in to a whole new groove. And so just like a book or a poem is a work of art, and just like a song can be seen as a work of art or even as a work of literature, the mixtape is kind of its own very uniquely American genre, one that I am completely sold out for, as you will see as we go through this unit and as you get ready for your creative final. He also said they're never technically tapes anymore, but we call them mixtapes anyway, just because tapes are always cool. It's a fundamental human need to pass music around, which is meaning if you make a mixtape for this class, you can give it to your friends, your family. You can post it on your social media, on your Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, however you do that. The music keeps moving. Every mixtape tells a story, which means you're going to be getting a theme out of this experience. And he's going to give so many great suggestions for the kinds of themes that you could do. You put them together and they add up to the story of a life. And so I come into this unit with the absolute contention that our land, that this course is topics in American literature. Well, this land, this landscape, this literature, this culture, this experience, this diverse, eclectic collection of humans co-residing in this divided and contentious and contested place called America, called the United States, that we are ourselves a mixtape. So many great musicians and musical genres that are globally popular were born here out of some of the pain and also promise of this place. And I'm going to contend also that you are a mixtape. And so you are going to construct your final from these two converging ideas. And you're going to interpret this through what Rob has to give you in this book, as you're going to write about it for your reflection. But hopefully you're going to get the sense that the whole story of my life has a soundtrack, and that I'm the star in my own movie life. I'm the author of my own experience, and you'll be able to share part of that when you get around to the creative final. There's a whole backstory to this. I've been using popular music as literature in this course, Topics in American Literature, for so many years, because popular music is literature. It is a subgenre, much like the graphic novel is a subgenre. Now, and I'm teaching this from a literary, and I'm understanding it from a literary and a poet's and a fan's point of view. This is not musicology, and this is not music composition or music performance, because we have a whole music, school here at the university, and I'm keeping those boundaries clear. We're interrogating and interpreting this as a cultural and literary experience. We're adding this to our understanding of genre. And some scholars have now said that the popular song, is the poetic song verse. It is poetry made manifest in song, and nothing really kind of solidified this amazing fact than the great songwriter Bob Dylan getting the Nobel Prize in Literature several years ago. And so Dylan's ascendance as a poet back in the 60s clearly got people talking in the 1960s about music as poetry and poetry as music. And I see pop music, your music, our music, my music, our collected American musics as a thing unto itself, similar to poetry and fiction and novels and nonfiction, but not necessarily the same thing. And the whole experience of how we consume it, whether we're doing it on an MP3 and listening to our phone, or we're getting a vinyl album and playing it on a turntable, all of those things factor into a whole cultural experience. We're going to see live music artists. And so we're going to be in the project, after we read Rob Sheffield's version of this, you're going to have the possibility to create your own sonic autobiography informed and influenced by our common musical geography. And for me, that comes at many different levels. And so this unit is for us to learn about mixtapes as a personal aspect of your autobiography, and also Rob Sheffield's clearly autobiography, and then to create your own particular American mixtape for your creative final. And this I'm embedding a preview of the final into this video lecture, but you're going to get a separate distinct assignment sheet which will explain to you how to do the final and all the due dates and things associated with it, which will come after our next unit, which is around utopia and dystopia. I am geographically informed in part from coming from Detroit, from the Motor City, and from all the beauty and all of the rebuilding and all of the abandonment that when I was growing up there, it was like a war had taken place. And then some people will say there was a war, a rebellion had taken place a generation before me. And we grew up in the shadow of crime and drug addiction problems and poverty and versus wealth issues. And similar issues, and also of race and community. And all these issues also come from the Mississippi Delta and also from West Tennessee and Memphis. And these places that from Detroit to the Delta inform a whole musical way of understanding. And so this has informed me in some of the books I've been reading about popular music and some of the mixtapes I've been making. And I will be sharing with you a sample of a mixtape that I made on gospel and blues. Also, folk music being shared as a way, form of social protest comes right here from Tennessee. This is up at the founding base from Grundy County area, up near the University of the South, up in Monteagle, Tennessee. We had the Highlander Folk School, which is now in East Tennessee, and they call themselves a singing revolution. The civil rights movement comes right out of this part of the world that we live in today, and music was a huge part of it. So I'll be sharing with you one playlist that I made on blues, gospel, and hip hop. And I've got an old lecture, and I'll keep in mind that it is an old lecture and it's kind of a long lecture, but I'll just drop that video as well for you guys to check out if you are interested. Hopefully you will have gotten this video, the shorter required version. And I'm giving you a fast forward, abbreviated version of this talk, just so in order for you to have it and for you able to get started on this unit. So our American mixtape is the conversation that we're going to be having about Rob Sheffield's book, also in the discussion posts for this unit. And then you'll be adding your piece to that conversation when you create your own mixtapes. And mixtapes can be about your life. They can be about specific topics related to America. And they can be about specific regions or specific genres. There are so many options. And like I said, in the Sheffield book, he even lists out in one of his chapters all the different kinds of mixtapes that you can make. But for example, music from and about Tennessee, music about work, women's empowerment has been a huge, and female vocalists have been a huge topic in some of the mixtapes past. You should be brainstorming already your idea, even though that final is going to be coming up later. And then I see all of those combined as our American mixtape. Maybe I'll get it together to show you some topics that were done in previous semesters. And most of these were done as playlists with just the written out components, which I'll provide you in an assignment form. But many people have taken it to the next level and done a very creative aspect to the final. And so that would involve like a web blog that you'll make, or some people have even made physical creative components to this, artwork and things of this nature. We'll have a little bit more on that later. So already you should be searching for the kinds of music that you might do. I really encourage you to be listening and reading about these topics, but also to be considering maybe not just giving me what the playlist you already have on your Spotify or your Apple Music or whatever, your YouTube, but to create a project for the remainder of the semester to discover and to find out what America is to you in musical artistic form. And to it's the bringing together of these opposites and these maybe diverse expectations that we have of who we are as Americans, and having them collide a little bit in the playlist, in the mix. This is my passion to make these playlists. I do it myself on my radio show, which airs on the college station every Monday at 4 p.m. Right now, at least it does. As of this recording, Mondays at 4 p.m., Teacher on the Radio on 88.5 FM, and it also streams on the interweb. And I have a website, www.teacherontheradio.com, where you can see just hundreds of playlists that I've made for that show. Look forward to receiving your questions on this unit, and I look forward to reading your response to the Sheffield book, and then reading and listening to what you say in your mixtape final as it comes up. Mr. Smith really rushed through this to make this a short introductory video for you guys for this unit, for the American mixtape section, and the Rob Sheffield Love is a Mixtape reading for topics in American literature for this semester at Tennessee Tech. Grateful that you guys could listen